Hey guys, we're back with another video. Today we'll be doing what if Asta was an elf, last king. I know there's a typo in the thumbnail, but don't worry about that. It's not important. It's not important. There's a thumbnail. It doesn't matter. So let's get into this what if, right? So so that Asta is in his bedroom, and he's just sleeping, and his grimoire, which is on the counting table, is glowing, and the grimoire opens, and four four pages four pages in the grimoire get writing on them, or markings on them, and then it closes. Deku wakes up and he sees Sekiri and Noel at both of his sides, and he gets up and he goes downstairs and he goes to make breakfast for the whole squad. He makes breakfast for them, put it on the table and cover it, and then go back to his room with his breakfast and start eating it. And he gets himself ready, putting on a black shirt, his black clover cloak, or whatever that thing is, and his pants, with his black pants, with a belt, with a black belt with a silver buckle, and his Boruto shinobi shoes. Yeah, I changed his shoes because I feel that would look so much better. But his belt is on a slant also, so his belt is slanted to the right. So yeah. So that's his drip. That's his drip. So he gets up, he grabs his grimoire, put on his grimoire holster, and puts his grimoire in his grimoire holster. And he sees his sword, and he says, I do have anti-sword magic. He takes his sword and he opens his grimoire, but he sees 4 new pages. He'll check them out later. But he puts his sword into the grimoire, and he goes outside for some training. Deku looks at his grimoire, and he recounts his magic. He says he has light magic, he has creation magic, and he has Basquiat's magic and wind magic. And if you don't know what Basquiat's magic is, I renamed his golden vine magic as in Basquiat's magic, so you can use true Basquiat's magic, is where he uses Monotone, which is true Basquiat's magic, but in base form he's just using Basquiat's magic, which is just like golden vines, but I'm calling it Basquiat's because I like Sacred Spirit Basquiat's. I mean, Sacred Spirit Basquiat's. I like that. I like Basquiat's a lot. So yeah, I like the name actually, not the thing itself. But I do like Basquiat. Saying Basquiat's way too much. Anyways, he reads the first spell that he saw. Basquiat's light magic, Campione. And if you haven't watched Campione, you would understand what's gonna happen to this. So he tries out the spell. Suddenly, the groan turns golden, and the building, the Black Clover building, is not there anymore. The sky turned grayish black. The clouds turned gray, and light swords come out of the ground, and Basquiat's, or golden vines, come out of the ground, and grab a tree. That was the only thing in his vicinity at the time, and grabbed the tree, and he said, Campione. And all the swords lifted up from the ground and pointed towards the tree, and then charged for the tree. And all of them hit the tree, and in a big explosion, the tree was obliterated out of existence. Then everything turned back to normal, and Asta, for the first time, actually felt his mana go down a bit, because remember, Asta has a lot of fucking mana, and remember, Asta is the son of Lucifer. Not Lucifero, Lucifer. Lucifer and Lucifero are two different things. So, Lucifero, I'm changing it a little bit. Yes, I'm changing it. Lucifero has gravity magic, and he is one of the many not demon gods, one of the three rulers. So he is the gravity magic, and the other ruler is time magic, and then the other is I don't remember the other names, but like he's one of the rulers. But Lucifer, not Lucifero, because Lucifer is the closest to Lucifero, because that is also his son. So Lucifer has two sons, which would be Asta and Lucifero. So Asta and Lucifero are brothers, but Lucifer, but Lucifero is one of the rulers of hell or whatever that place is. But Lucifer is like he's the overall ruler. He rules them, and he rules everything. So Lucifer is Lucifer. He's just that nigga. And his magic in per se is all of the rulers combined. So he had time, gravity, curse. He had a lot of fucking different magic. So he was strong. So yeah, Asta does have a brother, a blood brother also, which would be Lucifero. And his name is, but for some reason, Asta's name is Asta Lucifer the Clover the Third. Yeah, so he does have his father's name in his as his middle name. So yeah, Lucifer. Ugh, oh, that's so much confusing. And then this is where all the Black Bulls members come out of the well, it's technically a compound, because remember Asta went out of the compound, because if you didn't know what their house looked like, I think I should show you, but I'm gonna risk like showing you other stuff. Alright, it doesn't really matter. Remember, this is their house thingy, so yeah, that's their house. So they came out and see a giant crater, like on the other side of the compound. They see this giant crater, and they asked Asta what happened. He says, "In my sleep, I guess my grimoire added some more spells to my gave some more spells to me. So I tried them out, but I didn't know how powerful they were gonna be." Yami said, "Kid, you need to stop that, because you're gonna outgrow me one day, and I'm not trying to give you the captain mantle yet. I'm not finished with it." And Deku says, "Don't worry about it. I'll stay vice captain as long as I need to." And Yami just rubs Asta's head, because remember, Asta and Yami have a brother-like relationship, because, well, a father figure-like relationship, because remember, well, no, that will go to the priest. No, a brother-like relationship, because just because. And in the fact that if Lucifer knows about Asta, yeah, Lucifero doesn't know about Asta. He doesn't know that Asta is alive, and doesn't know who he is. But the only problem is that he doesn't know what team he's on. And his father has warned him that if anything ever happens to Asta, it will be his head. Because although that's Lucifer's son, yes, but then again, Lucifer didn't really care about Lucifero. He was like, okay, you my son, but like I didn't really like your mother. You were just something that appeared in my life one day. I didn't ask for you, so that's how Lucifer's thought process of Lucifer. Not saying he doesn't love him as a son, is that he doesn't love him as much as he loves Asta, because Asta's the main character. That's all we need to know about this. So Lucifer doesn't know. Yes, if he fucks up and he messes with his brother, that's his head, and he knows that. So he's gonna try at all costs not to fuck with his brother, because he knows that he is fucked if if that happens. So, but in effect, if Dante knows about Asta, yeah, he does. He does know about him, and Lucifer did tell him. And if he ever crossed him, his magic would not even be a sliver of his. And Lucifer, Dante knows this, right? But remember, Dante's a simp, so he believes that Lucifer was scared of Asta because Asta did something to him, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna beat Asta for Lucifero, because he did something to Lucifero. I'm doing this all because I'm a simp for Lucifero. So that's his thought process. Okay, so that's his thought process. So he's like, I'm a simp, so I want to fuck up Lucifer, Asta, right? Bad idea. Anyways, so Neri. Who is Neri, bro? Oh, I've been saying Neri, bro. It's Shekari. No, it's Neri. Neri. Okay, I'm getting. Whenever I refer to say Shekari or Neri, I mean the purple bird bitch. That one. So whenever I refer to her, I just say Shekari or Neri. Guess what I mean, right? So don't worry about it. So Asta then decides to. Yami tells Asta it's time to spar, and Asta goes into his grimoire and grabs his sword, but his sword is different now. The blade that was once had a golden edge is now completely black, but it had like red cracks in it, like red glowing cracks, but it wasn't cracks, but it was markings of cracks. So he was like, okay, and he pulled it out, and the sword was golden, bro. It was drippy. So he was like, alright, and he got in a fighting position, and him and Yami disappeared, but he could only see slashes and a slash and a slash and a slash, but you could never see them fighting. Then we just see Yami appear on the other side of the field, on the ground, and Asa's like, yo, what the fuck is going on? And asks Yami what's the problem, and Yami says his magic is low at this point. It's really fucking low, and he doesn't know why. And Asa's like, maybe because of the sword, it's canceling out Yami's magic even inside of his body. And you can see a scratch on Yami's cheek, and then Asa realizes that's how it got in. It infected Yami's magic inside of his body. So Asa's like, I bet, and he says, Dark Dimension, anti-light magic slash, and he slashes away from Yami. He slashes on the other side, and a slash of darkness just comes out of the sword and just starts. When it hit a tree, it decayed the tree until it was absolutely nothing. So Asta's like, yo, this sword is OP, and he puts back the sword back into his grimoire, and he's like, I'm gonna figure out that sword later. And he goes on his other spells. So he sees light magic, boots, and gloves. So this is basically Lux gloves and boot lightning thing. So that's just a light version of his, but his is more slimmer and sleek and less bulky than Luck was. Remember, Luck is really strong and his hairdo is different. So his hair is always covering one eye. So like, if you didn't remember that from the last episode, that would done this in at least 2 to 3 days, or no, a week or two. So yeah, here we go. So this is where Yami goes out and he gets the mission. Sorry. This is where Asta figures out. So he figures out his light magic boots and gloves, and he wears them, and he's really fast, but he doesn't find any use for them because it's him. And he says light magic mirrors, and light magic mirrors come up here, and he throws a rock into one of them, and it comes out at light speed on another mirror. So Asta's like, yeah, this is really powerful if given the right circumstances. And he's like, alright, that's a good magic. And he says light magic golem, and then as he says, a light magic golem appears right in front of him, and he's like, alright, bet. So this is where a few hours pass, and Asta's just doing push-ups where Neri's on Asta's back, and Noelle is just sitting in front of us talking to him, and Asta's talking to her back. And now we're just reading a book. So yeah, this is where Yami comes and tells them about a mission that they should go and do, and they're like, I bet, let's go and do the mission. So Noelle gets her sword, and so does Neri, and Neri puts it in her sheath, and Noelle puts it in her sheath. She gets her grimoire, Neri gets her grimoire, and Asta already had his fit on, so it doesn't really matter. So Asta starts flying, and so does Neri and Noelle, because remember, Noelle doesn't need to fly because she just use a very very advanced form of magic, just using her pure mana itself, being able to fly. So she don't need water wings or anything of the sort. So she's golden. So so they're just flying, and us Noelle and Neri's spirits come out of their grimoires, and they say hi to them, and they say hi to Asta, and Asta says hi to them, and they go off to the kingdom. So they actually got a direct message, as in their village was attacked, so they didn't get that board thing, because I don't want to do that, and I know that's messing with the plot, but fuck plot. And they go to the kingdom, and another kingdom, well, the village, and they see this, and Asta says this is a nice like place, a nice place for him to try out his new magic spell. And yeah, Asta doesn't really have a problem with killing, or none of the Clover Kingdom has a problem with killing other Spade Kingdom people. They don't really have a problem with that because, again, Spade is fucked up and the world is fucked up in Black Clover. So killing is not something that people frown upon or some. I just wanted people to make sure they knew that because it's war fucking time. So fuck killing, bro. That's a daily thing at this point. So Asta tells Neri to kiss him, and Neri is blushing and saying what, and Asta says again, kiss me, and she's like, I don't know why you would want this now, but sure, Asta. And she goes in front of him and she presses his lips against his, and they start kissing, and Asta's grimoire flies up upon his back, well, comes off his grimoire holster, and he says Campione in a muffled voice because he's also kissing Neri at this point, and the whole world goes, the floor goes gold, even the water, everything just goes golden, and the swords start riding up part of the ground, and the Basquias, or golden vines, sprout and capture all the spade ninja, or the spade majors, and captures them. And Asta snaps his finger, also pulling in the well, and he puts a light dome around all of the villagers, and the spade majors are like, what, you're putting me off a schedule? And he's still cocky. He believes, oh, these are just some random ass niggas. But he notices, fuck, this is light magic. You know, random ass nigga, he's the prince. Fuck. And he knows he's fucked now because Asta's already activate his magic, and the swords pull out off the ground, direct towards all of them, and that's all they see. After that, they're dead. They're just dead at that point. And Neri gets off of Asta because she was also doing that tongue action. We all know this. We all know not Neri is a tongue girl. We all know that. It's not really a debatable thing. Yeah. So Neri, she sticks her tongue out of Asta's mouth, and Asta pulls off of her. And they see the ice, the spade mages are gone. They're done, and Asta's come down, and this is where Nari still finds the stone, because she was also looking for the stone. So she finds it, and she gives it to Asta, and Asta takes it, and they say that he can keep it, and blah blah blah. And they go back to the building, where they find out that they earned a golden star. And actually, because Asta's been doing some late night missions, he's gotten plenty of stars. So they have the headlining stars at this time, because they have the more stars than the Golden Dawn and the rest of the other squads. So yeah. So then a few days pass, and Neri just gets up, and she's reading on some more sealing magic that other people had in the past. So is Noel doing the same thing, but for water magic. And Asta is just chilling, learning new ways to activate his magic. And he always knew some part of his body was locked away, and he always knew it, but he just couldn't figure out what it was. So if you do not know what Asta's mother magic was, and you don't want to know, so like skip a few minutes after this. So Asta's mother's magic, original magic in this one, was sealing magic. Well, a type of sealing magic, because she can seal things, and she sealed Libe inside of the 5-leaf grimoire, so that's how Libe was fucked up. So yeah. So she has sealing magic. So she sealed away Asta's demon half, because she did know how demons were treated because of some certain stuff. So she knew if people found out that he had any affiliation with demons, it would be a problem. But she didn't really care. So she did seal it away, and she's like, when he really needs it, and he really needs his power, he can get it, right? But this also had a everlasting side effect, because as you know, your magic is also connected to your personality. So what she also did was create a split Asta, and her ceiling has begun to crack over time that Asta's been growing up and using his magic more and more, and even in being endowed with anti-magic along with it because of Libe and being in contact with a demon on a regular basis. Yeah, your magic would weaken like that. So although she was a very, and I mean a very, very strong mage, like, don't sleep on Asta's mother. If she could be raised from the dead, bro, she would be stronger than than Yami, the original Captain Yami, and not Vanessa, she'll be stronger than Licht, because she also had light magic, but she had 2 magic types. But that's a weird thing for the royal family, because they're just humans. So having 2 magic types for her was weird. But as we know, as in the viewers, from me telling you that she's the reincarnation of the elf, the first elf, or the elf queen. So she's the reincarnation. That's why she had light magic at the time. And if you're not asking why she didn't have Basquiat's magic, or she didn't have like creation magic, it was because she was a reincarnation, and Asta, it was bred as basically having the DNA of the first elf or the elf queen. So she was different. And why Asta doesn't have any red marks on his body, because also a part of that is sealed away in his side of his body. So yes, Asta has a lot of magic sealed away into his body that he's not using. Well, that he doesn't even know about. So the more and more he doesn't know about it, and the fact is that he doesn't even know what an elf is at this point. Which also which Asta's, well, not Asta's spirit, Mimosa, Noel's, and Neri's spirit knows of Asta's, not heritage per se, but knows he's the elf, but doesn't feel like telling him because, bro, that could impact the law person, right? To find out that you are from a race that was long extended, and you being half of that doesn't make sense to me. It wouldn't make sense to him because remember, the elves has been dead for at least 500 years at this point. So him being half of that meant that an elf had to survive 500 years to mate with his mother or his father because he doesn't know what side it's from, and he doesn't know his reincarnation. So it's really iffy. So yeah, it's really weird for him, and he's like, okay, I don't know how to deal with this because it's me. I was not built to understand shit like that. So that's why they're not telling him about it, but they know at some point he's gonna find out about it, and he just knows someone's gonna fuck it up and tell him. So they just don't. They're just chill about it. So if Asta actually directly asked them for like what his heritage was, if they directly asked them, they would tell him. Like they wouldn't even watch. So also Yami's spirit does know about it too, because if y'all guys wasn't watching the last parts, yeah, Yami has a spirit too. He has a dark spirit. They also gave me names, but I'll tell them in the next episode, next part of this, because I kind of rushed into this part, and that's why I'm talking so fucking fast. But I digress. So Asta's just there, and so Yami comes up and tells them about the dungeon and blah blah blah. They go to the dungeon and they go in and I remember Luck is a changed person. He's been training with Asta for a long time at this point, so he's more chilled, and he did open up with Asta what happened with his mother, what his mother told him to do, and blah blah blah. And Asta convinced him that yes, you should honor his mother's memory, but also your mother was a bad influence on you. Point blank, your mother was a bad influence. That's point blank at it, right? And he just tells him, yes, you should admit she's your mother, and you should like last on her memory, although she did all those horrible stuff and told you all those horrible things. You should find your own way, carve your own path. And Asta's like, yeah, that's how shit should go, right? And Luck is like, I understand, and he's your changed person at this point. So Luck doesn't go off and try and do everything. So, but eventually they do come into I forgot his name. They come into Mimosa and Clift. I don't know this nigga's name. Cleft. I don't know his nigga's name still. So they come into it, and Mimosa floats over to Asta and kisses him passionately on those good and bumptious lips of his, and that is no homo. So so she comes in and she pulls off, because she was also doing that tongue action, and no one's kind of feeling left out. She hasn't done it yet. She's like, well, she did kiss Asta before, but like they haven't kissed in a while at this point. Like Asta's not the pushy one. He's like, oh, I'm not gonna kiss you because you're sleeping or something. I'm not gonna do that because it's me. But I'm gonna kiss you if I feel like I should. So she that's a part she likes about Asta, but also a part she kind of hates because he didn't take the initiative as he should. But she also liked that he would consider their feelings before he does something like that. So she's at odds with it. This part might be short. Anyways, so Asta goes deeper. So they go deeper, and this time Cliff didn't say anything because Asta's the fucking prince, and if you're trying to catch a fade with the prince, that's on your own. difficulty, buddy. I'm not trying to catch a fade like that. Um, I'm not trying to catch a fade like that. So, yeah, I'll rather not. So, Asta goes back into there, and he's just like, I bet. And he goes in and he finds the crystal magic mage guy. And him and he starts fighting. He's like, oh, he's repeating over and over, you're weak, you don't deserve to be in this world, blah blah blah. And Asta's just like, bitch, please. And he's like, he feels like he shouldn't be using Campione that much. And I failed to elaborate why Asta needed Neri to kiss him, is because also, if you didn't realize, it did take a bit of mana from Asta to use Campione, and that was only on one target. So Asta didn't know how it was gonna be with multiple targets at one time. So he decided the direct way of giving him mana would be to kiss him, and he didn't elaborate with Neri, but Neri noticed it, and she understood why he did it. He didn't really have a problem with it. So she's like, I bet, and he's like, I bet. So they didn't really mind. So Asta picks out his demon dweller sword and demon destroyer sword, and he just runs towards them and runs towards the guy, and he just slices his magic sword in half, and he gets real close to this nigga. I mean, real close. And he's like one in front of his face in a flick of a thing, and he's like, no, you can't be, you're a weakling. And then Asta just brings up the demon dweller sword and just slashes his whole armor in half, and just, because he did put on the armor at this point, slashes that whole shit in half. He says, you're weak, you're pathetic, you're a peasant. I don't want to see peasants in front of my greatness. Like, I am the prince, I am the epiphany of that nigga. I rule. I am the prince of the demon race, the elf race, and the Clover Kingdom. You cannot phase me, buddy. Like, pack your shit. You're in front of greatness. You must bow. But in all seriousness, he didn't say that because Asta's not that type of person. But he's like, I get it. You're annoying myself by all that weak shit. And he's like, okay. He says, anti-magic ball, and he just shoots him with the anti-magic that goes inside of his body. So he can't use magic at all at this point. So his magic is done fucked. So he can't use fire magic, he can't use crystal magic. He's gone. He wanna go home. He's like, I want my mommy, bro. I wanna go home. I wanna get myself some chicken. Why am I here? Why, just to suffer? Like, come on. And he just got his shit wrecked. Let's be honest here. He just got his shit wrecked. I'm not even gonna go into the fight because he's gonna get his shit wrecked. And I just made Asta so overpowered that any fights he's gonna be in, it's gonna more or less gonna be like, I'm gonna put Asta on the backseat, because I know if I let him fight him, Asta's gonna beat him in about 10 minutes flat. So I'm gonna try to stretch this out. I'm gonna try to milk this cow, because I want to give her at least a 40-minute video. So yeah. So I'm gonna stretch it out. So like, yeah. So Asta gets down to the treasury, and both things, that guy and that other guy, is like, they're good at this point. They're knocked out. The mist mage magic guy, he's out too. He's out like a light. So they make it down to the treasury or whatever it was, and Asta sees a scroll, and he opens the scroll, and a light appears from the scroll, and there appears a small tiny human with a white dress and golden like hair that reaches down to her back, and she, on her wrist, there are two crown on her left wrist. They're like a crown surrounding her, made out of light, and she looks at Asta and she says, "Hi, master." And Asta says master, and she explained that she's a fairy, blah blah blah. She's a light fairy, and he summoned her, and blah blah blah. That he is now her master. And Asta, and when she said this, a golden vine sprouted from her neck and started to wrap around her neck, and became a collar or a choker, whatever you want to call it. And she became Asta's. No, I was just gonna say that. Asta's. Well, that's technically what it is. Asta's spirit. So she became Asta's spirit from now until Asta. Well, not until he dies, because if you don't understand the between those two, so there's in the manga Libe has no girl. Like he's girlless at this point. So I need to give him some material to deal with. And I would think when this whole series ends, to have a half spirit, half demon hybrid. So it would match Asta's child with Neri. I was just gonna say Libe with Neri, Mimosa, no, I don't know L. And if you don't want to hear the ships from now on, so the ships is gonna happen, you can skip a few minutes. So the next ship after this is Cassie, not Cassie. What's her name again? I'll come back to that later. It's that the bitch that eat a lot with the cloth. No, the cloth magic. I think it was cloth magic or puff magic, whatever it was. And she's a half dwarf or dwelf, or whatever it is. She's half dwelf or something. And her ex, the Wizard King. And this is all obviously when the Wizard King technically dies, and when he becomes a child again. So yeah, technically then. So yeah, that's where the ship is gonna start, and then it's gonna be Yami and the Blue Rose Knight, not Blue Rose, that feminist bitch. I don't know her name. She's Yami's simp. Just pure and simple as Yami's simp, right? Finral and Vanessa. Look, and that girl from the orphanage that had lost siblings, her, Magna, and Magna and that girl that's always with Yami simp. Her simp, like, bro, both of them are Sims, but like the Sim, I don't know her name, so I can't. The only black girl I've seen in Black Clover yet. So the only black girl. So there's only one black girl in Black Clover that I know of. So that's what is her name though? The captain, the Blue Rose, not the Blue Rose Knights. Is it Blue Rose Knights? The Blue Rose Knights, right? Let's call it the Blue Rose Knights, because I don't know her fucking name. The Blue Rose Knights. The Blue Rose Knights captain. So the Blue Rose Knights captains. The one that has like briar magic, her. So her, yeah, her. And her simp, the only black bitch in Black Clover, her. So it's Magna and her. And then there's who else? Who else? So comment down some ships that the ones that I didn't mention. So if you guys want another pair of ships, so like Klaus, and yeah, Klaus and whoever. If you want her, someone else to sue. And if you want another ship for Asta, like if you want another ship for Asta, then go ahead. I don't have any problem with it. I'll more or less stick to 3. But like, if you guys want, I could change it to 4. But like, or 5 or 6 or whatever you want, right? But that's it for that one. So they get Asta stores all the gold in a satchel or something, and they leave. But this time, Asta does take out the smoke mage and the other guy, and they put him outside. They just leave him there. They didn't know the building was exploding yet because it did it so fast. They didn't know the building was collapsing. So they leave and they go back and they drop off the money at the Clover Kingdom and blah blah blah. But Asta didn't really want to go there because there's one reason. Because if Asta and people found out that he was there, he would have to stay. And he'd have to do more paperwork, more dances, and all some of other shit that he doesn't want to do at this point. Because remember, Asta's the prince. The only reason that he wasn't doing any princely things at this point was because he was not the Clover Kingdom. He was not there at the Clover Kingdom Square. He was not there at this point. So he was like, okay, I'll get a break. But if they found out that he came back, and he's just exactly like Julius, he's responsible sometimes, and he will take responsibilities sometimes. But there were times that he just wants to be a normal kid, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the fact is that he's not a kid anymore. He is 15, and in Black Clover, when you're 15, you're just an adult at that point. So yeah. So this is where we're gonna live off this episode. I know it was pretty boring, yeah, but like I'm kind of stalling at this point because I just don't wanna. I want the true demon prince. Here's a spoiler if you don't want to figure out the next part of this. The true demon prince is gonna come out, and he's gonna be very different from Asta. I'm not gonna say he's gonna be evil, but he's gonna have more knowledge than Asta, because this demon prince Asta knows he's a demon prince and knows his family heritage. Unlike Asta, he doesn't know that, because yeah, but this demon prince has been living in hell. So, well, technically not. He's not been living in hell per se, but his an astral projection of his soul has been there, and it's been staying there, just waiting until Asta's seals crack, and eventually his mind and Asta's mind is gonna fuse. But that's not gonna happen anytime soon. At this point, it's more or less gonna happen in the war arc. So it doesn't really matter at this point. So this is where I'm gonna leave off this video, guys. Hope you had a good day, and we all know, just subscribe. And well, actually, don't subscribe. I don't really care if you subscribe. Actually, if you don't want to, just don't subscribe. If you don't want to, I don't have a problem with it.